Welcome everyone to today's Catalyit Live hot topic, the Great Retirement Wave, adapting agency operations when you can't replace experience. We're excited to have you all here today. I'm Catalyt's Lauren Crosby, and I'll be your host for today's session. Today, we're joined by two leaders from Sonant AI. Pedro Sena, who leads growth at Sonant and works closely with agencies navigating operational change as staffing challenges intensify, and Q Wilson, Senior Account Executive at Sonant, who partners directly with agency leaders to implement AI operational strategies that reduce service strain and protect profitability. We're grateful to have you both here today. Today's session is one of the most urgent operational conversations happening in insurance today. By 2026, more than 400,000 insurance professionals are expected to retire. At the same time, hiring has become slower, more expansive, and less predictable. Agencies are discovering that when experience walks out the door, it can't simply be replaced with a job posting. So today, we're going to take a candid look at how agencies are adapting. We'll discuss how the retirement wave and remote work have reshaped the insurance talent market, real-time data on hiring timelines, turnover, and the true cost of failed hires. What agencies are trying today, from VAs and operational redesigns to AI-powered workflows, and when AI can reliably handle agency work, and where human expertise is still essential. Because the reality is, open roles, slow growth, producers get buried in service work, owners feel the strain, and turnover and training costs quietly erode profitability. The question isn't just who can we hire? So with that, before we get started, just a few quick notes. Please enter your questions into the Q&A section at any time. Pause at key moments and save time for additional Q&A at the end. Also, feel free to use the chat for comments, technical issues, or even your questions if you're more comfortable throwing them in there. I'll be helping monitor that throughout the session. And finally, today's session is being recorded, and the replay will be available within 24 hours inside Catalyt's on-demand video vault on catalyt.com. With that, Q, since you're doing the majority of the presenting today, I'll kick things over to you. Please get us started.
Fantastic. Pleasure to meet all of you, and very excited to be able to run through this webinar with you guys today. And Lauren, appreciate the great introduction. She mentioned my name is Q, really Quen. Funny enough, the reason I go by Q, my dad is a Quen, my best friend's a Quen, and then I married into a family with a Quen. So at that point in my life, I actually got demoted to Q, and it's stuck ever since. So just providing some context as to why she calls me Q. Very excited to talk through this and really the staffing crisis that we're dealing with in the insurance industry. So, a quick little introduction about me and why this is very fascinating to me. Prior to Sonant, I actually worked at a staffing and recruiting agency specific for insurance groups, P&C agencies, and brokerages. This is a very big problem right now that really needs to be addressed. And part of the reason I actually am at Sonant now, because again, staffing and recruiting, it's becoming a pain point within the insurance industry. Lauren provided some good context about this. The retirement cliff is real and it's here. She touched on this. There are over 400,000 insurance professionals leaving the workforce by 2026. That's a incredibly high volume. In fact, it's now considered a declining industry. There are less and less people getting into this industry day over day. The demographic that's really causing this, and it's a problem because there's a huge cohort near retirement with no succession plan in place. Second, the pipeline is weak. Again, there are less and less people getting into this industry year over year. And who's going to be filling those vacant spots? Third, and this one surprises people, time to fill service roles is sitting at 1 to 3 months on average. So that rate is continuing to grow. And really, those who are being affected the most is you. why I like to talk about this and why traditional hiring really is failing. So, number one, demographic. Large cohorts near retirement are leaving again with no succession plan in place. They're not actively taking those steps to make sure that their book and their business is going to be able to continue to thrive. Again, weak pipeline. There are fewer young professionals choosing insurance careers year over year. Time to fill is drastically increasing. Remote work, this is creating a huge level amount of competition for local roles because candidates have options to stay at home and do their job. And then the biggest one of all, bigger agencies. They can outcompete on pay, flexibility, branding, all of those areas where you often can't. And it's creating a massive talent gap right now in the insurance industry. What this looks like day to day. So, again, I came from the staffing and recruiting industry. I had lots of fun posting across the different job boards. A lot of these job boards, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster, they go on and on. They're not generating qualified applicants. Job postings are sitting up. You can rewrite a job description over and over again, trying to pick specific keywords for search engine optimization within the job board, but they're still sitting with no candidates coming through the pipeline. Another big one, your team is now having to cover the phone. Your licensed producers who should be selling, your licensed CSRs who should be managing accounts, finding opportunities to be able to build the book, they're getting burnt out because they're having to cover the phones. CSRs, again, your unlicensed staff who have that insurance experience or licensed, can go either way. They're being forced to actually have to be your receptionist. They're having to answer the phones, they're having to triage those. And your producers are functioning more as an answering service, being order takers instead of being able to be proactive. Roles are sitting vacant for months. Again, you're trying to find that next level commercial producer, and 6 months later down the road, the needle hasn't moved. This is a big one that I actually come across every day where they have these vacant spots, but nothing is being addressed to push them in the right direction. And then clients noticing service degradation. This is a big one. I'm in the insurance industry personally because the relationships. This is all about maintaining that standard of excellence with your clients and the service that you provide. Clients are starting to notice that calls are going unanswered. Policy reviews and renewals are not being addressed. Simple servicing tasks are just not being addressed in a timely manner to maintain that level of service that they originally went to you for. More and more, we're hearing clients complain about the lack of service and these calls being answered. At the very bottom, you'll see you're in survival mode instead of growth mode. Again, right now, agencies are just trying to have to function and maintain that book. The last few years, we have been in a hard insurance market. Last 2 to 3 years, it's been tricky. 2026 is starting to soften, which is we're heading in the right way. Now, how are you also going to maintain as more and more clients call in to reshop their policies? Hopping over to the next slide, a few things for you to think about on what it's really costing you. The hidden costs of the staffing crisis. A big one we see, missed calls. Revenue is walking out the door and they're calling your competitor down the street. This is a big one. Staff is being burnt out. It's really picking up with turnover, which honestly puts you back to square one. So even though you hired that person, they're in and out the door in 3 to 6 months. Number three that I like to touch on, producers on service calls. This is a huge one. Producers, it's in the title. Their job is to produce, to help build the book and build the business. Producers have transitioned more towards a service and an order taker role. They're not selling, and more importantly, they're not cross selling. They're simply keeping their head above water and servicing that book. Next one, slow response time. Clients are looking elsewhere. If you're not able to service them, we live in a very high demand country and communities. People want their service to be instantaneous. We can blame Amazon for that and Amazon Prime and their ability to deliver same day. But we need to be able to maintain that response time. And a big one that we come across every day is not having bandwidth for growth. Opportunities are being passed up. You're not able to actually grow that book. You're missing sales opportunities because you're having to service. You're missing cross sell opportunities because you're having to focus on just resolving an issue and pleasing the client in the moment. This isn't just an HR problem. A lot of people revert staffing and recruiting. That's HR's problem. They can figure it out. As agency owners, often you are HR. It is your job. And this is becoming a true revenue problem because your book is not able to continue to maintain and grow. So, what's not working? Here's some of the approaches that I've personally seen that have been failing. Competing on salary alone. You can't outbid everyone forever. The big agencies will always have deeper pockets. I recently talked to a brokerage in Kansas. They, to be able to compete in that market, it's a long-standing independent agency. They would have to increase their receptionist slash CSR, unlicensed person. They would have to increase their salary by $10 per hour to be able to compete with some of the other groups and the bigger agencies. That's a real life example I just came across even just last week. The other option people are considering is waiting it out. The thing about this, like everything, the faster you are to market, the more you can capture. With the talent pool shrinking and not growing, the cavalry isn't coming to save you. We don't have this huge influx coming. What we have is what we have today. The lift and drop automation. Automating bad processes just moves bottlenecks around and it creates chaos faster. So we're not actually resolving a problem. The other is replacing humans entirely. This creates massive E&O risk. I like to touch on E&O risk because people forget they purchased insurance from you for that relationship and they want to maintain that relationship with you. Same with angry clients. They are buying that service from you and having to rework relationships that still need people. Relationships are part of insurance. They still need you, but how do we make that easier for you? So, really rethink how work is going to get done in your organization, not just who does it. How can we change that? Some of the key ways we're seeing agencies are adopting. I mentioned this early on. I came from the staffing and recruiting industry, specific for insurance agencies and brokerages. I've seen it. VAs, offshore VAs, the Philippines, Latin America, South America, they are lower cost labor. It is a huge pro, but there is some cons to it as well. Again, I love virtual assistants, especially for the back office, but it does require training, supervision, and there is a turnover risk associated with that. The other thing I hear a lot as well, they don't trust your VAs to be on the phones. Again, the back office, a great resource. Operational redesign. So, really trying to leverage your existing staff better. This is a potential opportunity, but it takes a lot of time and it takes some expertise to really implement as you're restructuring and leveraging your staff's current skill set. Again, part of operational redesign, scale without adding licensed head. This is a big part because it requires strong senior talent to manage this. And remember what we learned about senior talent, those are the individuals who may be transitioning out of the industry towards retirement. The other solution we see is AI powered tools. The great thing and some of the main pro, instant capacity. The other one, no training needed. These tools are trained specific on insurance. The difficult part and one of the cons is it needs the right implementation strategy to be successful because implementing AI into your agency is not only a cultural shift internally, but also externally facing. Really, there is no single solution. Most agencies try combining 2 to 3 different approaches to really maximize the opportunity there. Now, where AI can help today, I know we've gone through a lot of doom and gloom about the insurance industry, the staffing problem, but there are ways AI can help today. Little interesting thing about me, when I actually came across how AI could benefit, I was actually doing searches for another client. It's a very interesting story, but I honestly referred them over to AI to help with that. So, anyways, here's how AI can help today. AI can really help with high volume. It is rules based, and there's little things that you can really go wrong. It's safe to automate now. You can automate things like your phones, answering phones 24/7. No missed calls, no voicemail, no after hours gap through Sunday 24/7. Routine servicing requests. Again, these types of requests don't often require human interaction. Again, these basic service requests like ID cards, vehicle changes, address updates, certs, your client can be serviced without having to have a 20, 25, 30-minute conversation so your team can focus on the tasks at hand. Call routing. Get the right call to the right person without human triage. I love this one because if you've ever used, we'll say like a press one or press two for sales, press three for service, or the IVR prompt systems, we call them, how often do people actually triage to the right person? Unfortunately, it's actually very low, which usually will force you to have to triage to somebody else, interrupting whoever got transferred that call. After the call, post call admin work. AI can help by generating notes, tasks, follow up emails generated automatically that get pushed back in to the management system. Again, a big part of E&O protection and making sure your staff stays up to date on what's going on with that client. Visibility. You can see what's happening on calls without listening to every recording. If you're looking for specific insights into your agency, cross-selling, E&O, these recordings are available and you don't have to listen to every single one, only the ones that matter to you and your team. Our vision here at Sonant is to enable insurance professionals to protect the world. That's what it really comes down to. But making sure agencies have the tools necessary to be able to accomplish that. So, what AI actually does. Here's some real examples that you can think about. So, we talked about phone coverage. AI, it can answer every call instantly. It sounds like a human, it can interact like a human, and it's trained specific for insurance. It can handle multiple calls simultaneously. So even if those large influx come in, no problem. After the AI picks up the phone, it collects information before routing. We need to understand, where does this call need to go? Is this a sales, a service? Is this a claims call? Is this a payments? Does this need to be routed to the carrier? The AI is understanding where this needs to go, creating tasks directly in your agency management system or AMS. After the AI has and conducts that conversation with your client, it will actually create a summary of that conversation. Not only will it send it via email, but it can push it back in directly to the management system attached to the client as a note and assign that task directly to the servicing role associated or however you have it set up. AI also works nights, weekends, lunch hours. There is no gaps in coverage when it comes to the phone. Now, post call automation. Again, we touched on this. The AI generates the notes from the conversation. It will then drafts follow up emails based on the conversation it had, documents coverage conversations for E&O protection. It'll also surface missed cross sell opportunities that your team, again, your staff could be functioning more like order takers today instead of proactively cross selling into your current clients. This will help analyze that. And again, identify cross sell opportunities for your staff so that you can also train them on how to better do this. Each post call task takes typically 10 to 15 minutes of your staff's time. Now, multiply that by 10 to 20 calls a day that a person would have to do. Let AI do it for you so you can focus on what's most important, building relationships with your clients. Let's talk about what AI can't do. This is an important part because expectations of AI sometimes don't align with where they should be. So here's where humans still need to be a part and maintain that relationship. Complex commercial risk and program design. We need a human to be a part of that. Relationship heavy sales and renewal conversations. Again, we still need that relationship with your clients. Negotiations with carriers and clients. Edge cases, escalations, and E&O sensitive decision. And again, honestly, anything that's requiring judgment, nuance, and context. These are the high value tasks that require empathy, strategy, and deep expertise, and why you're insurance professionals. What AI can do there is AI clears the underbrush. Humans focus where they make you money. So, a case study about what this looks like in practice. So, we're going to start with a situation. Small town agency struggling to hire. This is a real client struggling to hire. Job postings were on job boards for close to 7 months with no activity. Role vacant. Who's going to pick up that work? They had one receptionist drowning in over 400 to 500 daily transactions between a lot of those calls. This resulted in 50% of calls going to voicemail or even just being abandoned. People just hung up. What they did is they stopped trying to hire for the role. This was an operational mindset change for the COO. They decided, how are we going to fill this gap? So they implemented AI to handle these routine calls and routing. Again, collecting information, identifying where the call needs to go, and then triaging or helping resolve the call without human interaction. It redesigned a workflow to prioritize complex tasks for them. Again, let AI handle the simple ones, let humans handle the complex ones. The results they saw, the first thing was 100% call coverage, up from 50%. No more missed calls, no more missed sales opportunities. Client satisfaction scores went through the roof. a 43% productivity increase. This is my personal favorite. They went from an average of 60 to 70 transactions per employee or per agent for the brokerage, all the way up to 100 to 120 transactions. So helping to better insert service their clients. Their team were able to maintain the same size, no hiring, and staff focused on the complex work. So the complex risks that required human interaction. So things to think about for your agency. Again, ponder over these. Which roles are hardest to fill at your agency today? I personal experience. It's hard to find good talent in the insurance industry. I know. What tasks could be automated or handled differently? So, those routine service tasks, how can you guys make those more efficient while still maintaining that level of service, but freeing up your staff to focus on higher value, complex tasks? Third question: how much time does your team spend on post call admin work, collecting that information, updating the agency management system, drafting up that email for E&O protection? Think about how long that takes your staff and what would happen if you could automate that. How many calls are going to voicemail right now? We don't want to live out of a voicemail. Agents need to be proactive. Let's eliminate the voicemail and get people to the right person as fast as possible, or let's help them resolve their issue. Number five, if your best CSR, or we'll say account manager, producer, you all know who I'm talking about, their face popped up in your head. What happens if they quit tomorrow? What happens to the team? This is some great questions for you to really think about as you look to grow and scale your team. The last thing on this page, are you designing your agency for growth or just survival? So, here's some of the key takeaways and what's next. Number one, we touched on this. The talent cliff is real. It's here. 400,000 people are leaving the insurance industry by 2026. Make sure you plan accordingly. Number two, traditional hiring is failing. You can't outcompete for talent that doesn't exist. Number three, rethink how work gets in your agency, not just who does it. Number four, AI can handle routine work today: phones, admin, routing, documentation. Is that something that could help your team be able to take that next step towards growth? And number five, and this is my personal favorite and why I love insurance: humans still matter. Relationships are key. How do we help focus them on more complex risks, relationships, and judgment calls? So, appreciate you taking the time. If you would be interested and want to explore AI powered solutions for your agency, again, that's Sonant, helping with AI receptionist that answers every call 24/7. Also, our call companion that helps automate notes and tasks. Jumped ahead, but feel free to scan the QR code and book a demo. You'd actually book a demo directly with me, but I would love to open it up to any Q&A questions. Lauren, would love if that's a good time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Q. Really appreciate you walking us through a lot of great information. It's so much for agencies to think about, and you provided some interesting options. So, one thing that came up that I think agencies would benefit to know are some success stories that you've heard. What are agencies actually doing? Size agency? Who would benefit from the ideas you shared?
Yeah, great question. As far as different agencies, we work with a lot of different size of agencies and groups. Anywhere from some groups are one to five employees. We even work with some other agencies that are over 50 locations. So we can really work with anybody and really tailor that solution specific for them. Success stories. I love this one because we do got a lot of them. We work with a lot of different agencies in helping, again, automate these processes, making sure phones are covered 24/7, all of that. A personal favorite of mine, a group out of New York. They're actually over their 50 locations. It's actually my personal client. They had been trying to find a call routing solution for their agency for over 4 years and couldn't find one. We were able to implement, and their productivity has drastically increased by almost 600% in routing those calls to the correct people. Another personal favorite, another agency in North Carolina, they were really bogged down. It's a team of seven, and they were getting anywhere from close to 700 to 1,200 calls each month, but they had nobody to filter or triage those calls. We did an average of the very first month that our receptionist was implemented, it took 700 calls that would normally be handled by their staff. We did an average of only 5 minutes per call of what normally they would have had to answer and take over. Within the first 30 days, we freed up 58 hours of time that normally her 7-person staff would have been responsible for those clients. They saw a huge uptick in reducing interruption tasks, but more importantly, their team was more able to focus on relationships and not having to be reactive, but proactive.
Fantastic. Thank you. Pedro, anything from you before we wrap up or close up the webinar? Didn't want to skip giving you the opportunity to say hi again to everyone.
Hi everyone. No, just to say that we all know that the staffing crisis is being pretty hard. It's hitting hard to everyone. So really have to think and rethink the way that we work. And AI, it's obviously a big opportunity and a big tool nowadays, and it will only increase the productivity with AI. Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
And just the last thing I'll add to that as well, Lauren, and
Mhm.
thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you guys would like to, again, schedule more of like an evaluation of your agency and where AI could fit in, I know Catalyt helps out a lot there. We would love to help you understand what we offer here at Sonant and deep dive and see if this could be a good opportunity to incorporate into your own agency's workflows.
Fantastic. Kia Pedro, thank you so much. And we appreciate our premium partner, Sonnet. And thank you all for joining us today for the just incredibly thoughtful and practical discussion we had. And of course, I have Pedro's email up. If you'd like to reach out, you can also complete the short 3-question survey at the end, and we'll reach out to you there. And of course, if there's anything that we can do to support you, please don't hesitate to reach out to Catalyt at hello@catalyt.com. As a reminder, today's recording will be available within 24 hours inside Catalyt's on-demand video vault on catalyt.com. So feel free to rewatch and share with your team. Thank you all again and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.